Hello and thanks for joining me. Today I want to talk about a plague that has been on modern civilization and even ancient civilization ever since we started building buildings, sidewalks, and roads. And that is dysfunctional loading of the foot. I'm John Clark with the Posture Pain Connection, and this is a new show or episode series where we'll be talking about what causes poor dysfunctional posture. We don't want to talk about poor posture, bad posture. It's really functional or dysfunctional, and we're talking about dysfunctional loading of the foot specifically when it comes to this plague I was mentioning. And this plague is flat surfaces everywhere we walk, in our homes, our backyards, our government buildings, our churches, our malls, on our streets, our sidewalks, everywhere we go, we're walking on these flat surfaces. And that becomes a problem because let's think about how humans evolved. There's only a few naturally flat places on the planet, and they're all really inhospitable to people. They're salt lands, they're salt flats, they're deserted islands, they're just places that are sheets of ice, most places where most people don't live. And our ancestors really didn't evolve there for certain. So when I don't want to put my foot up here in the camera, so let's just look at this as a foot. They were walking on natural surfaces, and natural surfaces have hills up and down. You walk on the sides of hills, left to right. You're walking on, just always natural, uneven, broken terrain, and so the ankle is used in this full range of motion. But in modern life, flat surfaces everywhere. In our houses, flat surface. We go to work, flat surface. We go for a jog on down the street, flat surface. And it's just this. And what happens to muscles when you don't use them? Well, you lose them, or you lose function in them. And so we lose the ability to functionally get our feet and our ankles into these wider ranges of motion. And what that really leads to from a posture perspective is usually either supination of the ankle or pronation of the ankle. Supination is where you're walking on the outside edge of your feet. Pronation, walking on the inside edge. And you can prove this to yourself if you just go take a look at an old pair of shoes. Here's an old pair of shoes that I got. When I started postural therapy, I was in a wheelchair. This was the first pair of shoes I got after I was out of the wheelchair and walking some. But I was not walking functionally at all. And let's take a look at the wearing pattern on these shoes. Along the outside edge here, you can see this notch is completely worn more than this notch, almost is non-existent. This little plane here, let's look at this. I don't know how well you can see it on the camera, but I think you can see it there. There's no edge right here. But look at this edge right here. This is probably an 1/8 inch or maybe a 1/16 of an inch ledge on the bottom of the foot here. And it's that same wearing pattern all along that outside edge, because when I first started walking out of the wheelchair, obviously my gait was not yet functional. It was still really painful. But I bought that same pair of shoes once I started walking better. And take a look at this. I've had these shoes for probably, 8 or 9 months maybe, and they are worn perfectly evenly. There's no difference between the left and the right. So what this means is that I'm walking on a natural plane, or on a functionally loaded foot. And part of that is because I spend a lot of time walking on natural surfaces. I don't go for walks on sidewalks or roads. Whenever I go for a walk, I make sure that I go onto a natural surface where my ankle is going to get all types of range of motion. But, of course, also, I did a whole bunch of postural therapy to get out of my wheelchair, and then from there to get my foot loading functionally to where I could do all this stuff. So that's the big takeaway from the video today. The first step, if you want to start getting your foot to load more functionally, really start walking on natural surfaces. That will start bringing some of that function back. But eventually you're going to need to get into some actual posture therapy. You can buy a book written by Peter Gosku called Health Through Motion, or Pain Free for Women. He has a bunch of them. And they'll all get you started. If you can't figure it out from there, you might need to call a postural alignment specialist like me. My name is John Clark. You can find me at the Posture Pain Connection on YouTube, and all my contact information's there, and how you can schedule an appointment and all that once you're ready to take that step. But a really important thing to take away is just to go take a look at your shoes. figure out if you do have this problem of a dysfunctionally loaded foot. The evidence will be right there, unmistakable. One worn side more than the other. It might be the inside edge worn or the outside edge. It doesn't matter. You can fix them with the same techniques, because we in postural therapy we look at the whole body and the whole joint, not just one specific range of motion. We see the body working as a whole unit, and that's why when your foot when your foot is dysfunctionally loaded, you can have problems in the knees, in the hips, in the spine, the shoulder. It's all connected, and it's amazing how much pain in other parts of the body you can eliminate by just getting the foot to load functionally. That's it for today on my posture talk, we'll call it for now, unless I change the name later, which is my right since I get to do it. Thanks for joining me. Hope you have a functional and pain-free day. If not, give me a call.